Nintendo, boo, hiss, hiss, tomato, tomato, tomato. IGN posted on X, Nintendo has announced price rises for, that's a weird way to say it, for the original Switch and warned that price rises for the Switch 2 games and the Nintendo Switch Online membership may be necessary in the future. This is very curious for a couple of reasons, but the biggest one being Nintendo has the Switch 2 come out and keeps the price the same while they're upping the price of the original Switch to come closer to the Switch 2 accessories. Almost like they don't want people buying the original Switch stuff to use on the Switch 2. So they're saying, oh yeah, it costs more manufacturing to do this stuff. It costs more money for the Switch 1 stuff, but not the Switch 2. And yeah, just, hey, trust me, bro, because we're Nintendo. We wouldn't lie. IGN says, Nintendo announces US price rises, which again, this is weird marketing speak. It's a price increase. Where are they trying to make it sound not as bad? Sound the Alarmo. That's actually a great subtitle. Credit where it's due, IGN. This comes to us from Wesley Yin-Poole, and they said, Nintendo has announced a range of price rises for various OG Switch products in the US and warned that price rises for the Switch 2, video games, and the Nintendo Switch Online membership may be coming on down the line. The price rises. Why do they keep saying this? Isn't it supposed to be price increases? Which are a lie. Man, this is a Visa MasterCard line here. Based on market conditions, trust me, bro, we have to raise the price of the Switch 1, but not the Switch 2. Nintendo said come into effect on August 3rd. However, they briefly kicked in at Target as spotted by Wario64 on X and Twitter, where he posted this image here. Nintendo Switch console price increase are already in effect at Target. OLED, $400. What? Isn't that $50 more than it was? That's crazy. Non-OLED, $339. Switch Lite, $229. That's insane. That's insane. Nintendo is doing this purposefully to push people to buy a Switch 2. It has literally nothing at all to do with market conditions, because if it did, they'd be raising the price of the Switch 2 as well. This is complete BS, and their stock price will tell you that as well. This is a straight up business decision, not market conditions. Assuming the new prices shown at Target are correct, they're as follows, which is what we just went through. For some reason, they raised the price of Alarmo to $10 more, from $100 to $110. Joy-Con 2 controllers, $100, up from $95. Interesting. Almost like all the prices for everything are going up so that everyone needs to buy the Switch 2. Very strange, very strange. The announcement comes a month after Nintendo signaled price rises in Canada, which they said was just going to be Canadian. And then they were like, oh, we got to worry about the tariffs. Remember the tariffs argument where they're like, we will decide at a future point. We don't know what Donald Trump is going to do. We're worried about these tariffs and we might need to move things and this. And then no tariffs happened. There were no issues with any of these companies or countries. They all got rolled back for the most part. None of them impacting Nintendo at all. But don't worry, guys. They found a way to raise the prices anyways, even though that didn't even become a problem. Wild. Shocking. Color me shocked. Which were also based on market conditions. Nintendo is yet to go into further detail. Of course, they're not going to either. Today's announcement, Nintendo said that the newly launched Switch 2, physical and digital Nintendo Switch, and Switch 2 games, as well as the Nintendo Switch Online membership, will not be impacted by the impending price adjustment, though all models of the original Switch are impacted. Certain, in quotes, Switch 2 accessories, select, quote-unquote, amiibo, and the Nintendo Sound Clock Alarmo will see their prices go up, Nintendo continued. On a post on their website, which we'll just go right to that. This is the website here. Nintendo Switch pricing update. Pricing for the original Switch family of systems and products will change in the United States based on market conditions, effective August 3rd, which is as of recording this, tomorrow. So by the time many are watching this, it will be in effect. These include Nintendo Switch OLED, Switch, Switch Lite, and Switch accessories. And then they talk about the other stuff here. Pricing for the Switch 2 are not going up, remain unchanged. However, please note that price adjustments may be, hey, we're going to leave this door open. If it works out really well, we're just going to keep raising the prices. And if people keep buying it, we're just going to keep raising the prices. It's a very Doug Bowser EA style move. And no, I'm not really that surprised at all about it. Nintendo didn't name Trump's tariffs in the statement because they're not affecting it. But analysts are pointing to them by way of explanation for these and other price rises in the video game industry. Yeah, I bet. Daniel Ahmad, by the way, this guy's a hardcore Wokey who I would imagine, being such a Wokey, is a very TDS person. He has me blocked on X. I have no idea why. Director of Research and Insights at Nico Partners tweeted to say he wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo ended up raising Switch 2 prices at some point as well. 20% tariff on Vietnam, 30% on China, 15% on Japan, all markets that Nintendo relies on for hardware and software production. Wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo end up raising Switch 2 prices at some point as well. Response, maybe they shouldn't have used slave labor in countries for production. This one here, tariffs are on the landing cost, not the retail price. This guy, yeah, quote unquote, tariffs. If this was actually affecting them, I can guarantee you guys that Nintendo would be raising the price across the board, blaming Trump and saying, yep, the tariffs. We are to believe that this is the case, it's just straight up from this guy, 20% in Vietnam and 30% in China and 15% in Japan. That those are all brand new tariffs, and Nintendo is just going to absorb that and not say that in their statement. They're not going to say anything about that. No, I'm going to press X for doubt on that. I don't believe that to be the situation at all. News of the Switch price hike comes just hours after Nintendo reported its first financial results since the Switch 2 came out in June. As expected, the company saw a significant boost in sales and profits, with the Switch 2 itself selling more than 6 million units in just 7 weeks, which, by the way, that is a lot of units to sell for a new console in 7 weeks. That's a lot. I have said before, and I do stand by this, I do feel like there will be a cliff it falls off of. It's not going to be sustained like the original Switch was, because I feel like there's a lot of people buying it right now, but there's a lot of people that are just like, why would I? The Switch is doing what I want it to do, and the prices are too exorbitant for me to pay for it. In the financial results, Nintendo said the OG Switch was still continuing to hold its own despite its age and the launch of the Switch 2. Well, they just completely threw a rock into that machine by raising the price of the Switch selling well. The number of annual Nintendo playing users between July 2024 and June 2025 has remained above 100 million, which means Nintendo launched Switch 2 into an environment where a huge number of people were already playing the Switch. I'll tell you guys, I said it before, I'll say it again. If I did not have this YouTube channel, I would not own a Switch 2. Do I like my Switch 2? It's fine for what it is. Do I recommend it? No. I like straight up no. Like the original Switch, perfectly fine. If you play your Switch all the time and it's all you play and you have really big hands, then yes, I'd say it's worth upgrading to it. But for the faster speed, the games, like no, you don't need that. That's not necessary. The only thing that is a selling point to me, because I have big hands, is because it's a bigger controller. And I'm like, okay, and a bigger screen. I like that. Cool. That I'm on board with that. But the games itself, no, there's not enough of a selling proposition for me to be interested in it. And maybe down the road there will be, but I'm a little bit surprised it sold so many consoles in a short period of time. What was it, 6 million in 7 weeks? Something like that. It's crazy. It's crazy. Nintendo is raising the prices and they're blaming it on market conditions. Once again, the corporation is lying to you guys. I don't know how else to tell you this, but no. If they were raising prices based off of market conditions, they would have raised them across the board. They're raising them from a business perspective to make it more enticing for people when they go to the store and say, "Oh, it's only $100 more from the OLED to the Switch 2. Why would I spend 400 on the OLED when I can get the latest and greatest and play the latest Donkey Kong game or Mario Kart? I'll just get a Switch 2." That's what they're doing. And they also want to prevent people from being able to go in and buy the original Switch Joy-Cons and connect it to the Switch 2 instead of buying the Joy-Con 2 because they're cheaper. They want to push people to spending more money. At the end of the day, it's not based off of market conditions. It's based off of how are we going to sell more to make more money. And at the end of the day, if it's working, I guess I can't blame them. But damn, it's dirty. It's dirty. But Nintendo's in business to make money, like all of them are. But I figured everyone should know the reality here. So I wanted to go over all that with you. But I'll leave that one there.